So you didn't start using really any substances until 18. Do you feel like there was anything from like your childhood? Does it run in your family? Kind of tell me where your mind is when it comes to like what kind of got you started.
My sperm donor, as I call him, because he was no father to me, he was an abuser. Let's just leave it at that. My mom left him when I was like 3 or 4. I don't know if it's because she knew of the abuse or what, or my mom just didn't want to be with him. And but then there was other things like my first stepdad used to, and I wouldn't consider it spanking. Like he would torture, really, like with like the belt or his hand. It didn't matter. I had a younger sister. And so I used to get a lot of the whoopings because I was protecting her. You know, I didn't want her. She was 8 years younger than me. So, you know, at 10 years old, I believe that's when it was. Luckily, my sister was with my grandma, and my stepdad just happened to decide that he wanted to be on some kind of rant that day. And we lived in a ran down, whatever. We lived in an apartment complex where you could access the roof. And he decided to drag my mom up there by her hair. And I followed because I'm a kid. I'm like, I want to protect my mom. But then I had to like leave because, I had to go call the cops and stuff. And, he assaulted her and he tried to get her to shoot him. But, when the cops were coming, but I guess he ended up shooting himself. And I caught the last glimpse of it, like, because I ran back up, because I heard the gunshot. So I saw it at the last second. So that was pretty traumatizing. So.
Okay. So it sounds like you had some pretty intense trauma at a very young age too, not just like teenage years or anything like that. So yeah, that's rough to go through. Do you feel like that contributed to, like, say, your first use of marijuana, or do you feel like it was more of like a social, I kind of want to fit in and try something new?
I think that it was kind of towards the social, but at the same time, it was kind of a cover up, like, okay, I'm going to fit in, but they look like they're feeling good or whatever. And maybe I can feel good too and not think about some of the stuff that I've been through.
Yeah. Did you get help as like in your teenage years and after the trauma? Were you, because I know, I mean, I'm not, we didn't announce how old you were, but I know even recently, just back in the day, it wasn't something that people concentrated on, right? Like, suck it up, deal with it, you'll get through it, just forget about it. So a lot of even parents, didn't know even where to start to get their children help, So did you get any help? Did you have any counseling or anything?
I had a little bit of counseling, but then my mom decided that I don't know if it was because she couldn't afford it. I don't really know. I just know that I went there for, I don't know, a couple months or something like that. But then all of a sudden, I just remember not being in counseling anymore. I remember when I got a little bit older, I was like 13 or 14. I didn't like my mom's boyfriend. Well, like I said, I was very protective of her after that event. And I didn't like my mom's boyfriend. I don't even remember why, but I just didn't like him. And so I kind of like wigged out on him one day. And I just, you know how we used to have the home phones,
The landline.
the landlines. I grabbed the cord and I wrapped it around his neck, threw him to the ground, and stabbed him with a fork.
Oh my. Okay.
And so my mom, you know, put me in a mental hospital. I was there for like, I don't know, 2 weeks, something like that. And it was really scary in there because there was a lot of kiddos, or I don't know how old they were, but there was a lot of people in there that, you know, had a lot scarier things, I think, than maybe I did. They put me on medication. They put me on lithium and sent me home. But it just made me worse because whatever mood I was in, it just intensified whatever mood that was instead of keeping me balanced. And so at one point, like, my second stepdad, which I consider him my dad, that is my dad, you know, but I was going so crazy that he actually had to put a chair over the top of me and sit in the chair because he's 6'4", you know, whatever, you know, 200 and whatever pounds, just to get me to calm down. And then my mom was like, okay, you know, enough of that. Took me off the lithium.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So it seems like it had the reverse effect on you, which a lot of meds do. So, yeah. Is there any history of in your family that you're aware of when it comes to addiction?
yes. I think he was like my half uncle because he was like my papa's kid, but not my grandmother's kid. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I always knew him as my uncle. And he was, I can't remember if it was methamphetamines or cocaine, but he was highly addicted to it. And he actually overdosed. And that kind of really hurt me because he was one of my favorite uncles and we used to do a lot together. So it kind of really hit me hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So parents, like, do you know of any addiction, like with your biological father? Was there any, do you know much about that? Or with your mom, was there any type of addiction there?
She used to smoke pot as far as I know. I don't know of anything else.
Okay. Okay. I'm asking that because I know in the past, me and you have discussed that a lot of times it is genetic, you know, your DNA stamped. But it does sound like, you know, you did have a lot of trauma too, which is typically another reason why. So, I'm going to ask kind of a personal question.
Okay.
And again, if you don't want to answer this, you don't have to.
Okay.
So I know we didn't share like your sexuality or your preferences earlier. Okay. So when it comes to when you decided to, I guess, come out is the term that most people use and announce to your parents of what your sexuality preference was and that you were gay. Do you feel like that kind of played a part into what led to a lot of your addiction too? Or was there an immediate acceptance from your friends and family?
Actually, here's the funny. Came out when I was 12.
Okay.
You know, and looking back,
so that's pretty young, right? Like,
well, and looking back, even though I couldn't comprehend it, I knew I was when I was like 4 years old.
Okay.
And so, anyways, you know, looking back now that I'm mature and I know how to, you know, but so I came out to them when I was 12. And funny thing, my mom, who is then told me that she was bisexual, said, "Oh, it's about time. I've been waiting for you." Like she knew.
Okay, so she had a hunch too. Okay.
She knew the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then my dad also said, you know, your Uncle Kim and Aunt Tracy or whatever. I'm like, oh, and he's like, they're gay. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay. So yeah. So they both were just like, yay.
Nice. Okay. So, because,
Yeah.
you hear that a lot, and that's why I asked, you hear a lot of, it's hard, I mean, I wouldn't know personally, but just having friends and, working with people like you and things like that, it just, you hear that a lot, where there's no acceptance and they almost get shunned, and then that leads to their addiction. So that's good to know, because it seems like you had enough trauma as it was as a child, and then you came out at such a young age. Typically, you don't hear of people coming out that
I mean,
young
I came
either.
out to my parents, but I didn't really I didn't come out like to everybody else. And so like high school was really hard.
Mm.
And, in fact, so much so that, I was so scared that, I actually, this chick was picking on me, and, I told her just to leave me alone. I said, leave it alone, like walk away. She didn't want to. So took her head and bam, bam, bam,
Mhm.
into the locker. I said, don't ever talk to me like that again. Don't accuse me of stuff that you don't know. And it's just because I guess I was just embarrassed. I was afraid that
Right.
people weren't going to be accepting like my parents were.
Mhm.
And you know, um, and then I ended up having a boyfriend my sophomore through senior year. And then after we graduated, we both told each other we were gay. And then it dawned on me, oh, no wonder we didn't sleep together. Oh, no.
Yeah. How funny. Since you recognized it at such a young age, do you feel like you went to boyfriend status to kind of change and mix up the stigma and to maybe take away what people were believing?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And also for like the rest of my family, because a lot of them, yeah, no. In fact, I even got married to a man because I thought that's what I would, and at that point though, almost everybody knew, all my friends, my family, everybody knew, but I still felt like it's okay for me to like women, but I'm supposed to get married, right? Like, you know what I mean? And a couple of my family members are very religious and go to church every day and this and that. And so, and even though my grandma said she accepted me, I went to visit her one time with one of my girlfriends, and she made us sleep in different bedrooms. So I was like, okay, I guess she doesn't really, So, and the man I met was just we got along like we liked everything. We both like muscle cars, shock. We both like whatever. And so, but eventually I told him, I said, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, and you deserve a wife, obviously, that wants to be your wife. So
okay. And did you guys have any children?
No.
Okay. Okay. So we are going to, I kind of want to dive into kind of the main reason we're having this whole interview is, where did your addiction was meth.
Yes.
So that was your drug of choice. When did that start? When did that start to take place? When was the first time you ever used meth?
2002.
Okay. And you were how old?
Oh, in my 20s.
Okay. Sorry, I'm putting your age out there. So, so in your 20s, was it a fluke thing? Was it a planned thing? Was it how did all that occur?
It was, and it seems like it's a pattern for me because it was always because of a girl. And I don't really want to say because of a girl, because it is my choice. It was my choice. But circumstances, it always seemed to be surrounding a girl.
Okay. Was it so they would love you more, like you more? Was it so you could kind of do something that you had in common with them? Like, what do you mean? Kind of elaborate on how it was always.
Okay, so
revolving girl.
I met this girl, and I didn't know that's what she was doing. And so I kind of like busted her, I guess. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what are you doing? Like, and she basically just said, do you want to try it? And I'm like, but what is it? And she's like, it'll make you feel good, blah, blah, blah. And so I tried it, and next thing you know, like I can still remember it. It's like I just got so sucked in, and I just was so like beady eyed, and I just, stuck on the couch, like, and I still remember it. And, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do nothing. And I was just, it was horrifying.
Yeah. Okay. But it felt good at the same time.
It did, but it was also scary because I didn't know why I was feeling like that.
Yeah. Okay. So was that the first and last time you used it with this in that situation, or did you continue to use it?
I continued with that person, but I didn't stay with that person for very long. Okay. But leaving that relationship did not get me to stop using.
Okay. So were you using by yourself when you guys separated and parted ways?
No, because of how I was getting it, and now I know other people, and I was introduced to another female, which I didn't know that she was into me because I was so high. I wasn't even paying attention to her. Because I am an artist, and so I like to draw. Well, when I was high, that just brought it out so 10 times fold, you know what I mean? And so I'd just be so fixated on it. I didn't even realize. And then my buddy who had brought her over to like hang out and smoke with us, he's like, she likes you, right? And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, she was trying to talk to you the whole time she was there, and you just ignored her. And I was like, oh, she was? And anyway, and then her and I ended up becoming a thing, which I think caused my using to escalate a little bit, because she was already at a point in her addiction that like her tolerance was higher than mine. She'd been using for longer than me. And so now I felt like I was trying to match her almost, and it just kind of escalated some more.
Okay.
And I freaked out one time. I went to a buddy of mine, and because I didn't know a lot of things, and I'm like, it's coming out of my skin, like the smell, or and I'm just like, why? Like, I don't want people to, and I start freaking, and, so I quit cold turkey, for almost a year, but it was always that year mark that I couldn't get away from. The year would come around, and something or someone would present itself, and there I was.
Yeah.
Right back there.
How many times would you say that because you've been sober now for how many years?
Let's see, I got my clean date right here. It is 4 years, 8 months, and 5 days.
Very nice. Okay, so obviously you passed the year mark. So now you can truly say you've exceeded your problem spot. And how many times would you say that before this sober time, how many times would you say that you got clean and then relapsed? How many times would you say that happened?
Oh
From
gosh.
the time you started in the addiction?
Right. At least 8 to 10 times.
Okay. And was it always a year that you would relapse, or was it just you never got past a year?
S- Um, like maybe 3 or 4 times it was a whole year. The other times were, 6 months, 4 months, whatever it was.
Mhm.
But, you know, um, and then, like I am very proud of my clean time right now, but I guess the saddest thing to me is that, you know, um, before I relapsed this last time, I had 10 years clean, and that was like everything to me. And then for me to allow myself to be sucked back in by a girl, um, you know, uh, and I should have known better. It's you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped or that isn't ready to be helped, and you can't change anything just because you love them more or you whatever. And and I forgot those things, I guess, and I allowed myself to be sucked in.
Do you feel like you got too comfortable in your recovery since you had been sober 10 years? Did you feel like you were kind of
Absolutely.
invincible to it?
Absolutely.
It's one of the things that I always say is we always have to be self-aware. We're addicts, right? Like it doesn't matter how long you've been clean. I myself, I was clean for 20 or 15 years, somewhere around there. I'd have to do the math again, but same thing. Some circumstances happen and you fall right back into it and get sucked up. So yeah, and it's because you didn't know, right? Like nobody told you 20 years, 30 years, you got to be aware. Like you never know.
Right.
We don't know the future, what it holds, right? Like
Right.
so I'm sure you didn't know that circumstances were going to happen and you were going to get sucked back in. If you had known that or been pre-warned, I'm
Right.
sure you wouldn't have even allowed that door to open,
Right.
So
And once I opened that door, I even still thought at that point that I was still in control.
mm,
And for a little while I was, um I got high in the morning, I went to work, I ate, I showered, went to work, didn't have it on me, didn't even think about it all day. I'm like, oh, this is great, because normally, you're like looking for the next, and I'm like, no, it wasn't even like that for at least a month or two. Ritual, just like that, and I'd come home and I'd go to sleep, get up the next day, do the same thing, da, 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 and then, party on the weekend. And then, a couple months down the road, as it turned out, somehow I got some stuff that was cut with fentanyl, and that's the scariest stuff out there.
mhm,
Forget the meth, forget the whatever. No, it's that fentanyl. It's killing people.
yeah.
And I got addicted to that. And I actually almost overdosed at work one time
Mhm.
because it had gotten so bad that the day that it happened, I still remember it because I got up and my normal routine or whatever, but I noticed that the amount that I was smoking had changed. And the amount of times, I got up, smoke, get in the shower, smoke. Then I catch myself standing there naked, having to smoke before I get dressed. I'm half
Mhm.
dressed, then I'm still smoking again.
Mhm.
I'm putting I put one shoe on. Oh, nope, we got to smoke again. Oh, get the other shoe on. Oh, let's smoke again.
Mhm.
And I did the one thing that I said I'd never do, take it with me to work.
Mm.
And here I am just down the street from my work right before I go there. And I'm in the back of my car. I got tinted windows, but I still like put the sun visor up and I'm
Mhm.
like in the back seat, laid down, like some kind of weirdo, you know. And I'm like just sweating profusely. And I'm like, okay, gotta get to work. I can't be late. I get into work and like the cramps start, my stomach cramps, just, I mean, bad. Like I thought I was dying.
Mhm.
And so I was at one part of where I worked. And then I had to walk to another end of the building, and I was down there, and I told a coworker of mine, she was also my friend, I said, I have to go to the bathroom. She goes, you got to wait for so and so to come relieve you. And I said, I can't. I got to go right now. Sorry. And I went to the bathroom. I get in the bathroom and I'm hunched up like in fetal position, just sweat pouring down my face, like as bad as if I had just got out of the swimming pool. And I was just hunched up there, and and so I texted her. I know we're not really supposed to have our phones at work, but I know she does. And
Mhm.
and so I texted her and I said, I'm sorry, I'm still in the bathroom. I'll try and be out in a minute. And she goes, well, you might as well go to the safety office because you've been in there for almost an hour. It felt like 10 minutes to me,
Mhm.
and so I get up to the safety office and they give me cold water and stuff. And I start to kind of come back around. They asked me if I wanted to go home, but I was scared that they would want to drug test me, or they would want to, question me. So I said no, because I did feel better after I had the water and stuff. So I stayed my shift. But when I went home, like, I don't know, I started getting like this knot on my forehead, and like my chest felt all weird. And yeah, that was when I decided that maybe I needed to go to detox. So
Okay. Just figured that now at the time, obviously I'm assuming you did not know that there was fentanyl in the meth that you were using.
no,
Okay.
I not at the time, but when I called like the crisis line or whatever, and this was the most awful thing was, they told me, you can't just stop,
Right.
because you could have a cardiac whatever. And I'm freaking out. And but I knew that I had to wait until Monday to let my company know or whatever, and because I wanted to be honest and say, well, I was going to be gone, blah blah blah. And because they wanted to come pick me up right then, and I said no, I can't. I have to be able to set everything up, um and so literally for Saturday and Sunday, I legit had to lay in bed and every couple hours just take one hit, just so that it wouldn't be completely out of my system. And I feel like that in itself was the scariest part.
Mm. Yeah.
I didn't want to die.
Right. Mhm. So at this point, you started using again due to a female. The way you were kind of talking was she was using, you were not, then you led into using with her because of the same reasons, right? Wanting to
I
get the
wanted to spend
attention.
time with her. I wanted
Okay,
to spend
so it
time with
was,
her because she would be up all night, and here I am sleeping all night because I got to go to work.
yeah.
And I just, I wanted her attention.
Mm.
I was sitting there one day on the couch and she's on her phone, and I'm just trying to get her attention. Just have her spend time with me because it is daylight, and whoo, she's actually awake.
Yeah.
So like, trying to get her attention. But I had already really let the devil in because I had already allowed her to be able to have it in my house.
Yeah.
And so it's sitting there on the coffee table, the pipe in the ashtray, and I'm trying to get her attention to my other side. And so like I picked it up, brought it to my mouth, and I'm looking at her and she's totally oblivious. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I set it back down and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Like, why would I, you know what I mean? But just like you said, something in me just was like, oh, I'm just going to take one hit just to show her, get her attention. So I picked it up. I even flicked the lighter. She's still not looking. I flicked the lighter. I took that first hit, and all of a sudden, Oh, that got her attention.
Mm-hmm.
She whipped her head. She could have got whiplash. And she slapped me clean across my face. And she's like, what are you doing? And I said, why? It's okay for you to do it, right? You're not paying attention to me any other way.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how it just kind of went from there.
Yeah. It's always how it, well, screw it, I already did it, so might as well keep going, right? Okay, so
And I didn't at first, like that one hit, and then like, I don't know, a couple hours went by, and then I got the itch.
yeah.
And then it was like, you think I can hit that one more time? Oh yeah, sure. Then she hands it to me. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. And of course, somebody that is already in active addiction, they're going to agree to it and completely condone it because now, well, you can't
They got a
be
buddy.
mad at me. Yep, they got a buddy. They can't be mad at me anymore for doing it. They're not going to set expectations and rules.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So you went to, I'm assuming you eventually got to detox.
Yes.
And now did you stop at detox, go home? What happened after detox?
I did further my recovery.
Okay.
That is How I Met You.
Mm-hmm.
And I even have your name tattooed on me because I'm so grateful. Yeah. So I didn't think I would like you when I met you, to be honest.
Most people don't.
I tried to escape.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a lot of shame, a lot of it. And it was really getting in the way of my recovery. And it took a while. I was pretty stubborn, but you helped me work through that shame to the point where I was okay with me again. And I could love myself again and remember my self-worth.
Nice. So how long, I'm assuming you went through recovery, you started your journey, no relapses in between, no, nothing like that.
Nope.
And I'm sure you know other people that have gone through recovery. I know you used to go to like NA meetings and things like that. You're also working on your mental health, which is huge because I truly am a firm believer that they go hand in hand, right? If we're not taking care of one and not the other, vice versa. So what would you say has, besides the thought of having your son in your life and things like that now, what would you say to anybody that was having a hesitation, or better yet, you were very scared to start your journey, right? Like you were not even sure about it. Maybe, I don't know, the typical hesitation, right? So
yeah, it was almost like, okay, I made it through detox. Do I need to continue?
Do I need it? Yep. I got the drugs out of my system. I don't need it. That's what a lot of people think. So first, this is going to be kind of a two-part question. So what pushed you? I mean, I kind of really didn't let you walk away, but other than myself, like what pushed you and what clicked in your brain? Like, okay, maybe I do need this. And then also, what would you tell somebody else that is having that hesitation and thinking that they don't need treatment?
Okay. Okay. Like you just said, you get out of detox or you get the drugs out of your system, however you do it, whether you go to detox or you don't, but the drugs are out of your system, but they're not out of your mind. Okay. It's still fresh in there. And I feel like just because it's out of your system doesn't mean it's fully out of your mind. And I feel like that's where it clicked for me, because I thought to myself, okay, yes, I got the drugs out of my system. I feel better, but now where's my mind going to go? Because it's literally been, a week or however long it had been, or whatever. And I wanted my mind to be as clean as my body. And, and so that's where I was just like, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt me to continue my journey and see where it leads me, because if anything, it's going to be beneficial to me.
Right.
you know, beneficial to me, myself, beneficial, you know, to my family, my son. But just most importantly, I didn't like who I was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and maybe I could never see it when I was actively in addiction, but like when I look back, even years and years and years and years ago, like little things will pop up. Like I walked into, you know, a Circle K or somewhere, some kind of, you know, convenience store looking for a pack of cigarettes, you know, and I just remember looking all tore up, all grunged out, all dirty as heck, you know, looking like I'd been up for like a week or more. And I'm trying to pay for a pack of cigarettes with change. And I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
count it out and I'm just shaking, you know, because I'm so whatever.
Yeah.
And little things like that just pop in my mind. And I'm like, I didn't like who I was every time I was actively in addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the kind of person I want to be for my son. That's not
Right.
even the kind of person I want to be for myself. And so all I can say to someone else is, you know, like I said, you want it clean out of your body, but you want it clean out of your mind. And it's not going to hurt you to try and proceed with your journey. It's only going to help you. It's only going to benefit you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mel, I want to say thank you for joining me and allowing me to interview you and share your success story. I love being able to put this out there. You know, I'm so tired of seeing the videos of people in active addiction, zombied out on the streets, you know, and we don't see enough of the positivity out there. So,
Absolutely.
and you're still going strong and you're still working on yourself. So,
And it is about yourself, you know, like you said, change can be scary and letting go and stepping away from the addiction. But at the same time, you know what's more scary? You could die out there
mm-hmm. Yeah.
because they don't know what they're doing when they're cutting it with that fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one hit could be your last.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that's all I'm going to say to that.
Yeah, it's very sad out there. So keep up the good work. Again, thank you for everything and for joining me today. And thank you for putting in the work for yourself. I mean, honestly, you know.